As Seo-woon continued with his technique, he told Senruruku that this time he would truly face him in a serious battle. Senruruku, on the other hand, mocked Seo-woon and told him to stop talking and start attacking. But in Senruruku's thoughts, he only had a maximum of 2 minutes for his aura blade to work and needed to finish Seo-woon within that time frame. Seo-woon also thought that his internal energy was almost depleted, so he needed this battle to end as well. Without a second thought, Seo-woon launched an attack and shouted, "Here I go!" at Senruruku. As Seo-woon used his technique to multiply himself, Senruruku was unfazed and used his aura blade to attack Seo-woon. But then, the real Seo-woon suddenly appeared behind Senruruku and attacked his back using his palm technique. Senruruku tried to retaliate and slash Seo-woon while calling him a sneaky bastard. After slashing, he couldn't believe that he couldn't feel anything, realizing he had hit a clone again. He then decided that since he couldn't detect the clone or the main body, he would just cut them all down at once. Suddenly, before he could execute his plan, a solid punch from Seo-woon hit his face hard, making him spit out some blood. Blood scattered through the air as his head nearly twisted from Seo-woon's punch. At the same time, he tried to find Seo-woon's real body and successfully spotted it. Seo-woon then arrogantly asked Senruruku how his punch tasted. He continued talking, telling Senruruku that it would be better to stop looking for his main body. Senruruku, on the other hand, was shocked that Seo-woon knew what he was trying to do. While his clones continued attacking Senruruku, Seo-woon revealed that Senruruku would never be able to tell the difference between the clones, as all the clones made from his spirit illusion steps could attack just like the real body. Seo-woon then shouted his technique, Severing Fist. Chapter 1. Straight Cut Kick Up. Senruruku dodged the attack as Seo-woon's kick landed on the ground. Senruruku then countered the attack and used his piercing aura blade technique, aiming at the clones that had just attacked him. The attack was so fierce that it emitted a golden aura as it struck the two clones, erasing them from existence. As the clones began to fade away from the attack, Senruruku muttered to himself that the clones' durability was terrible. Without a second thought, Seo-woon added 5 more clones. Senruruku started to worry about his aura blade, as there was only 1 minute left for him to use the technique. Meanwhile, at the top of the cliff, Zukana watched the battle and told himself that he did not expect Senruruku to struggle so much. Then, out of the blue, Senruruku called out to Zukana, telling him not to just stand there and help him. He added that if Zukana helped him win, he would give all the rewards to him in return. While watching the battle, Zukana shouted at Senruruku, telling him to watch out ahead. As Senruruku called for help, Seo-woon struck without warning, catching him completely off guard. But Senruruku quickly countered, using his crushing wave aura technique. As Seo-woon dodged the attack and quickly executed his technique, Severing Fist. The attack hit Senruruku directly in the chest, blood spilling from his mouth as the shockwave reverberated around them. After the blow, Seo-woon's intense follow-up strike clashes violently with Senruruku's blade, but to his frustration, the attack is stopped short. Gritting his teeth, Seo-woon wonders if it was blocked. With a sudden charge, Senruruku grins and declares he's got Seo-woon this time. He lunges forward, piercing what he believes is Seo-woon's body, sending blood flying from the brutal impact. But as the figure stumbles, it flickers, and Seo-woon's real body reappears nearby, standing tall and bloodied, yet calm. The clone fades, revealing that the attack had once again missed its true target. Realizing he's been fooled again, Senruruku freezes, staring at the two Seo-woons before him. In disbelief, He mutters that this was a clone too, and that Seo Woon is really just toying with him. Senruruku's rage builds. Meanwhile, Seo Woon simply smiles coldly, calling the situation truly humiliating with a low chuckle. Snapping, Senruruku roars that he doesn't care about winning anymore. With veins bulging and fury in his eyes, he swears to use all his strength to rip Seo Woon to shreds. From afar, Zukana watches the escalating chaos and mocks Senruruku, wondering aloud if the Emperor of Madness is being revived. Back on the field, Senruruku unleashes a massive surge of energy, golden flames swirling around him as he dares Seo Woon to avoid it if he can. Exploding forward with terrifying speed, Senruruku charges toward both Seo Woon figures, his fists blazing as he aims to crush them in a single blow. After the impact fades, some of the clones are completely destroyed and begin to vanish. Senruruku scans the remaining figures carefully, breathing heavily, and narrows his eyes. Only two left now. Main body or clone. It's one or the other. But then, Seo Woon suddenly bursts forward, roaring that it's his turn now. With explosive force, he drives his fist toward Senruruku, unleashing a powerful technique, SK Straight Cut Fist. As Senruruku braces for impact, another Seo Woon flanks him from the opposite side and shouts, "Over here!" both striking him simultaneously. Blood sprays out as the dual assault lands cleanly. Senruruku staggers and lets out a pained grunt, realizing with a grimace that the attack actually had an effect, leading him to believe it might be the real body. But just as one of the Seo Woons closes in, Senruruku counters in a flash, driving his glowing blade into its neck. The Seo Woon clone recoils in shock and pain. Feeling no resistance in his grip, Senruruku confirms aloud that this one was also a clone, discarding the body with frustration. Looking around, Senruruku wipes the blood from his face and questions whether only the main body is left now. He then spots the last Seo Woon standing a short distance away, battered but firm. Without hesitation, Senruruku raises his blade, declaring with grim resolve that with this one clash, he'll end everything. Seo Woon narrows his eyes and shifts into stance, readying himself for Senruruku's final attack. And then, with a final charge, both warriors dash at full speed toward one another, ready for a decisive, all-or-nothing blow. With fierce momentum, Seo Woon and Senruruku collide mid-air, their attacks clashing in a burst of light and force, fists and blades striking at the exact same moment. Landing back on the ground, Senruruku smirks and compliments Seo Woon, admitting he's quite skilled even when fighting unarmed. Then, his expression sharpens, intense and aggressive. He roars, daring Seo Woon to block his next move, and activates his finishing technique, Aura Blade, Lightning Form. A devastating explosion of golden light erupts as Senruruku strikes again, lightning surging across the field in all directions, directly hitting Seo Woon's body and nearly tearing it apart. Seo Woon screams in pain, his body trembling as he struggles to endure the onslaught. Senruruku grins through the chaos, lightning flickering around him as he watches his opponent falter. Seo Woon is hurled backward by the sheer force, slamming into the ground with such impact that the earth cracks beneath him, his torso visibly cut open. Desperate and injured, Seo Woon gasps and tries to reason with Senruruku, shouting that if this continues, only Zukana will benefit. But instead of mercy, Senruruku drives his blade straight into Seo Woon's chest. Blood bursts from Seo Woon's mouth as the powerful strike lands with brutal force. Yet in that instant, Senruruku groans in pain as something shifts. His grip falters, and the aura blade begins to flicker and fade. Finally, his fingers loosen around the hilt of his weapon, and the glow of lightning vanishes, signaling the beginning of a turning point in the battle. With heavy breaths and a blood-soaked body, Senruruku stands victorious over Seowun's corpse. He mutters that he barely managed to finish within the aura's duration. Still panting, he reflects that if he had been even a moment late, he would have been completely finished. But then, a pause. Something feels off. Turning his back, he grips his sword tightly, sensing that something is strange. A moment later, dread creeps in as he realizes something isn't right. There was no impact in his hand during the final blow. Suddenly, his eyes widen in horror. A brutal strike bursts from behind, catching him completely off guard. Seowun, very much alive, erupts in a counterattack that splits Senruruku open with overwhelming force. A system message confirms the result. Seowun defeats Senruruku, killed by strength. Standing near the fallen chest, Seowun notes that if he hadn't drained Senruruku's stamina using his clones, things could have gone the other way. As green energy flows into his body, Seowun evaluates the vitality gained from Senruruku. He notices that it isn't as much as Namsa Guang's, but it's still a large amount. With it, he feels confident. He can now face Zukana. Meanwhile, from above, Zukana watches in surprise. He hadn't expected Senruruku to be defeated. Addressing Seowun, he sarcastically offers thanks, admitting Senruruku was quite the headache. Seowun glances up, trying to locate Zukana's position atop the cliff. Zukana draws his bow and declares that the king's competitive nature drove him to invest everything into Seowun. He adds that Seowun, who gave everything in return, will also die by his hand. He vows to personally honor Seowun's struggle. Then, with incredible speed and force, Zukana launches a glowing blue arrow straight at Seowun. The projectile tears through the air, causing Seowun to flinch and brace himself as it races toward him. Startled by the attack's speed and power, Seowun barely reacts in time. He watches the blue arrow shoot toward him with terrifying momentum. As the glowing blue arrow speeds toward him, Seowun suddenly activates his movement skill, Immeasurable Steps. His body splits into multiple afterimages, dashing forward at blinding speed to dodge the incoming attack while ascending the hill where Zukana is standing. Seeing the illusions, Zukana narrows his eyes and recognizes the technique, calling it that troublesome doppelganger move once again. Zukana then smirks, as if he already knows how to counter Seowun's cloning technique. He fires another powerful shot with his bow. Then, with ruthless precision, the arrow pierces one of the Seowun figures. Blood erupts violently from the real Seowun's left leg. His body twists mid-air in pain, confirming the attack hit its mark. The real Seowun tumbles backward, crashing hard down the cliffside. Once Zukana confirms that he's safe, he descends towards Seowun's collapsed body. He lands with a light step, ready to finish the job. Approaching confidently, Zukana states that he'll have to make sure Seowun can't escape. Meanwhile, Seowun lies wounded and helpless on the ground, yelling in desperation, "No!" As Zukana draws his bow again, the arrow pierces straight through Seowun's hand, making him cry out in pain. Another arrow strikes his left hand, causing blood to gush as he grits his teeth. Shouting furiously, Seowun demands to know how Zukana figured out which one was the real body so quickly. His eyes burn with disbelief. With a faint smile, Zukana answers casually, "It was just a gut feeling." He looks down at Seowun, lying among the fading clones, unfazed and confident. Seowun, battered and exhausted, mutters, "What?" as he struggles to process Zukana's calm demeanor. Zukana responds by acknowledging Seowun's effort and determination, saying he respects it. But Seowun spits back in defiance, cursing Zukana and shouting, "Respect, my ass! Give it to the dogs!" And without further discussion, Zukana fired the final shot directly into Seowun's head. A notification then appears. Zukana has killed Seo-woon with an arrow. A few minutes later, Zukana stands in front of Seo-woon's lifeless body, asking himself if the game is over. Suddenly, Seo-woon's body, just like the previous players who died, turns into a chest. An announcement is made. The Cloyd survival game has now ended. Seo-woon, now sent to what seems like another dimension, watches as his body becomes a chest while Zukana stands in front of it. Seo-woon mutters that he really messed up in the game and completely gave it away. Standing alone, he reflects on how at least he got to eat the meal Nam Sa-gwang had prepared. A system message then appears, congratulating him for ranking in the final 2. Another notification follows. You have qualified to participate in the next game. Seo-woon turns to the side, startled and confused. Realizing what that means, he mutters in disbelief, asking aloud if there's really another game after this. The system then informs him of his rewards, including kill bonus points. He has earned 140 reward coins. Now standing in a cosmic-looking space, Seo-woon responds, puzzled by the term, coins? All his previous items appear, surrounding him, as the system summons them. Several notifications pop up, displaying different items and their coin values. Carmen's necklace for 3 coins, Ring of Strength for 20 coins, and Carmen's Eye Magic book for 50 coins. Seo-woon remarks that he picked up a lot of stuff. The system displays a new message. You can take the items acquired with reward coins. Seo-woon stares at a skill book labeled Spirit Illusion Steps, 130 coins, stunned by the high cost. He realizes that buying just this one would nearly use up all his coins. Another system notice appears. The final 5 players are given a chance to spin the roulette and draw an item. Seo-woon reacts with surprise. Oh? There's a gotcha? As the description explains, it's a system where items can be obtained randomly. A message confirms. Jin Seo-woon has come in second place, so he has 2 chances. Seo-woon thinks aloud that if he gets either the Cloak of Invisibility or Spirit Illusion Steps, he could save a lot of coins. Encouraged by the odds, he grins with excitement and declares, if I'm lucky, this could be a huge gain. With confidence, Seo-woon begins to spin the glowing roulette. As the roulette slows, Seo-woon panics and yells, stop! But it's too late. The result locks in. Astro's necklace. He stares in disbelief at the outcome, furious that of all things, the cheapest item had to appear. He calls it a joke. Frustrated, Seo-woon grabs his head and demands to know why something like that had to come out. How many items were even in the pool? Realizing he still has one more chance, he clenches his fist and regains his resolve. Standing before the roulette again, he prays desperately, calling out to God, Buddha, Jesus, or anyone out there. As the wheel begins its second spin, still staring at the spinning roulette, he suddenly yells out, stop! His voice full of urgency and anticipation. The ring spins to a halt, and his eyes widen in disbelief as the result is revealed. The text appears, Ring of Another Dimension, and then, with another burst, Skill Book. He watches in shock as the final result lands on Spirit Illusion Steps. A brilliant light envelops him as the skill is confirmed. Spirit Illusion Steps. From behind, he stands awestruck beneath the golden glow, completely stunned. Moments later, a system notification flashes. Spirit Illusion Steps. He clenches his fist in excitement and yells out, nice! He celebrates, calling it the most expensive thing he got, thrilled that it feels like he just doubled his coins. Another system message appears. We will now provide the items you have acquired. His eyes follow the glowing book floating toward him. Then a second message appears, informing him that he can buy items using coins and will be moved automatically once he's done. He looks around at the gear, ready to begin. As he picks out items, it is explained that drawing spirit illusion steps helped him save many coins, but there were so many tempting items that it was hard for him to decide. After some thought, he makes his choices. Since he couldn't stay in this space forever, he finalizes his decisions and finishes shopping. The system acknowledges him with, "Well done," and wishes him luck in the next game. He's suddenly engulfed in a radiant flash, and then reappears in a familiar alleyway. Looking around in confusion, he mutters, wondering if he's really back in his world. He lifts his hand and sees a familiar item resting in his palm. Recognizing it instantly, he confirms that the ring is definitely the ring of subspace brought from Cloyd Survival. Gripping the ring tightly, he breathes out. It's not a dream. His eyes stay fixed on the item as he slips the ring onto his finger. A slight breeze blows around his feet. He glances at his bag, then picks it up. Walking away down the street, he reflects that his first game has ended. On the surface, not much looks different, but deep down, he senses that something big has begun. Smiling to himself, he now feels that TOEIC isn't the problem anymore. Looking at the ring on his finger, he thinks back to the moment he heard it. He remembers it clearly. There will be a next game. The ring glows faintly. Ring of subspace, 30 coins. Determined, he clenches his fist and starts walking quickly, declaring that although he only got second place this time, which he thinks is unfortunate, he needs to be ready and prepare himself for the next game. With determination in his eyes, he clenches his fist and declares internally that he's definitely going to win the next game. The scene shifts to the building exterior. This is the studio apartment his parents found for him near the school so he could prepare for his return to university. Now entering the room, his thoughts are no longer focused on TOEIC, but fully on becoming stronger, using what he gained from the game. As he drops his bag onto his chair, he continues thinking that in the second game, he doesn't want to remain in a weak position or just run away like he did in the first one. Sitting cross-legged on the floor, he reflects that unlike in the game, his danjon feels empty here in the real world, raising concern that he may have used up all his internal energy in the final battle. With a calm yet serious look, he acknowledges that since he can't kill people here, he'll need to follow the elder's advice and practice chukki to gradually refill his internal energy. A flashback begins with the elder explaining that internal energy is usually gathered through chukki. Now that his danjon has formed, focusing on it will help him naturally build energy over time. The elder continues, saying it won't be as fast as absorbing vitality through martial arts like the white dance technique, but making chukki a part of daily life will eventually lead to mastery. Seo Woon then asks if training like that could make him as strong as the elder. Laughing heartily, the elder compliments Seo Woon's boldness and says he noticed it since yesterday. He jokes that trying to follow someone stronger might tear his groin, like a wren trying to imitate a stork. But deep in thought, the elder has a serious moment thinking he wouldn't know whether Seo Woon will become a useless wren or if he will become a baby stork. Seo Woon, with a calm demeanor, continues meditating and focusing, preparing himself for what comes next. This is the end of this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next update.